The Caitlin Clark and Natasha Howard situation is kind of crazy.
People are starting to question Caitlin Clark's and Natasha Howard's chemistry. Clip going around. So she dumps it down. Watch Caitlin's shoulders here. She kind of like, Then she goes to tie her shoes as Howard goes to work and misses the layup.
She passed the ball, then tied her shoe. And just like that, the whole internet exploded.
She blatantly runs into Caitlin Clark while Caitlin Clark is driving down the lane.
Natasha Howard and Caitlin Clark do not like playing with each other.
She's doing this on purpose.
Caitlin Clark, frozen out again by teammate Natasha Howard, didn't yell, didn't argue. She simply tied her laces mid-play while Howard missed yet another forced layup.
So this is Caitlin Clark right here. And she literally gets down and ties her shoe in the middle of the basketball game. Now, fans have been talking about this play.
But that subtle moment spoke louder than words. It wasn't a fluke. It was a signal. What's happening inside the Indiana Fever locker room is no longer just strategy. It's personal.
She's looking her off in games. She sees the girl driving down the lane and intentionally.
And now fans are calling it exactly what it is. A power struggle that could destroy the franchise from within. It all started with a single, silent moment, but it revealed everything.
Caitlin knew she would never see the ball again. Gray should have too.
Caitlin knew she would never see the ball again. Gray should have too.
Caitlin Clark passed the ball to Natasha Howard, then without hesitation, bent down and started tying her shoe in the middle of the play. The crowd didn't miss it. Cameras zoomed in, fans hit rewind, and what they saw wasn't just a quirky pause, it was a statement.
Caitlin Clark had a situation where she tied her shoe in the middle of the game, and fans is definitely freaking out about it.
Caitlin decides, I'm just going to go tie my shoelace. And by the way, Caitlin Clark is currently being denied while tying her shoelace.
So she dumps it down. Watch Caitlin's shoulders here. She kind of like, Then she goes to tie her shoes as Howard goes to work and misses the layup.
Gray not knowing what to do when Cece is tying her shoe.
Clark knew exactly what was coming. Nothing. No return pass. No ball movement. No teamwork.
With Natasha Howard look off Caitlin Clark and take the ball up and then throw it to Caitlin Clark with like 2 seconds to go to shoot a step back.
Just another possession hijacked by Howard, who drove into traffic and missed again. That small shrug from Caitlin, that was frustration disguised as composure.
But Caitlin Clark literally passed the ball to Natasha Howard, knew she wasn't going to get it back.
Because this wasn't the first time. Far from it. In fact, it's become a pattern, one that fans, analysts, and body language experts have all started calling out. Clark gets open. She sets herself. She signals. But the ball never comes.
Natasha Howard just looks off Caitlin Clark. And Caitlin Clark, you can just see the reactions. It's like, we got body language experts here, but I don't care. I don't care. If you get looked off, by the way, and you're trying to push the pace, you're there shrugging. So you got Caitlin Clark there shrugging her shoulders like, what the hell?
And time after time, it's Howard choosing to go solo instead. Social media erupted with that shoelace clip, not because it was funny, but because it said what everyone's been thinking.
Nobody's paying money to see Natasha Howard. Nobody is paying money to see Natasha Howard. That's all I can say. That is all I can say. Nobody's paying money to see her.
Caitlin Clark is being iced out on purpose. The lack of screens, the absence of movement, the refusal to run the break with her, all of it adds up. And it's not just careless basketball, it's targeted. When your point guard, your franchise player, feels she's being ignored to the point where she doesn't even try to get open.
Do you think Natasha Howard's going to throw it?
Shorts.
Looks her off.
And 10 seconds left here.
Now she want to dribble the ball up the floor. And we should have known when she said, I would like to be MVP. We should have known she was an op.
Something's broken. And the shoelace moment, that wasn't passive. That was Caitlin Clark saying loud and clear, I see what's going on. And I'm not going to chase a game I've already been pushed out of.
She's bringing the ball up. She looks at Caitlin and then just keep bringing it up. Eventually gets it to her, but she brings the ball up.
That now viral shoelace moment wasn't an isolated incident. It was the boiling point of weeks of tension between Caitlin Clark and Natasha Howard. And once fans started digging, the floodgates opened. Clip after clip showed the same pattern. Caitlin running the floor in transition, arms up, ready for the outlet pass. And Natasha Howard ignoring her, dribbling the ball up herself, or holding on to it until the play died in isolation.
She is taking away from Caitlin Clark. She is taking away from Caitlin. She is taking away from the speed.
A 26-point first.
Caitlin Clark is right there waiting on the outlet. Natasha Howard looks her off.
This wasn't just poor chemistry, it was deliberate. Multiple possessions show Howard walking the ball up, slowing the tempo, and looking off Clark, even when she was wide open.
Natasha Howard out here blatantly ignoring, freezing out, and looking off the best point guard in the league.
She don't necessarily want Caitlin to feel like she has to do it all. She actually have a good team, good teammates behind her that has her back.
The locker room has been corrupted.
At one point, Clark had dropped 25 points in the first half of a game, clearly in rhythm.
Caitlin Clark had 25 points in the first half, and Natasha Howard looked her off from 3.
Yet moments later, Howard waved off a perfect three-point opportunity and drove straight into a crowd. No pass, no recognition, no trust. It goes deeper. There's even footage of Howard physically cutting off Clark's lane, literally running into her during a drive to the rim.
She blatantly runs into Caitlin Clark while Caitlin Clark is driving down the lane.
That's not bad positioning. That's a lack of respect. And fans noticed, analysts noticed, even commentators started asking, is this personal? It certainly looks that way. Natasha Howard's comments earlier in the season raised red flags from the start. Before the first tip-off, she openly said her goal was to be MVP.
Natasha Howard said her goal was to be MVP. I knew then that she was going to be a problem.
She talked about leadership, about not needing Caitlin to do it all, and made it clear this was still her team. On paper, that sounds like veteran leadership. On the court, it looks more like ego, and ego is killing this team's chemistry.
Her body language seemed kind of not there, breaking the huddle.
Because every time Howard holds the ball too long, every time she ignores Clark coming off a screen, every time she forces a bad shot instead of feeding the hot hand, she's sending a message. This isn't Caitlin's team, and that's the real issue. Clark is the top playmaker on the roster, the face of the franchise, and the player the fans came to see.
Caitlin Clark is obviously the reason why everybody's watching the WNBA. She's the reason why all these fans are tuning in.
Nobody on this team sets screens.
Caitlin Clark running the show.
Yet she's being treated like an afterthought. Even Aaliyah Boston, another cornerstone of the franchise, has been seen turning away from Clark on fast breaks, refusing to start the offense through her. These aren't basketball decisions. They're political ones. And the locker room division is starting to spill over onto the court in full view of the world.
Caitlin's job was basically just to be a role player. Caitlin's job was to be a pass-first point guard and get them the ball, and that they were going to play their system.
Meanwhile, the stats back up everything. Caitlin Clark leads the league in unassisted field goals, meaning she's not just scoring. She's creating everything on her own because no one's helping her do what she does best: facilitate, shoot, and lead. And here's the worst part. When Howard sits, the Fever play better. The ball moves, the tempo increases. Clark pushes in transition. Shooters get open. Possessions flow. Everything this team could be comes to life the moment that ego steps off the floor. So fans are asking the question no one in the Fever front office wants to answer. Why is Natasha Howard still leading this team?
This team is not built around Caitlin. When just like the start of the season, it was built around DeWanna Bonner. Now DeWanna Bonner is gone. And guess who's is built around now? Natasha Howard.
The deeper you look, the clearer it becomes. This isn't just a chemistry issue. It's a power struggle inside the Indiana Fever. And Caitlin Clark is the one paying the price. From day one, Clark was brought in as the future, a generational talent, the player meant to lift the franchise out of irrelevance and into a new era of national attention and sold-out arenas. And she did exactly that. Attendance skyrocketed, viewership broke records, merchandise flew off the shelves.
You're looking off our best player. You could have stayed where the hell you was at.
But instead of being empowered to lead, Caitlin has been systematically pushed aside by the very teammates who should be building around her.
She's the Michael Jordan and Alyssa Smith, but she very much has the ego of Michael Jordan too.
Natasha Howard didn't come to Indiana to take a back seat. Before the season even began, she made her goals clear. She wanted to be MVP, not mentor the rookie, not grow with the team, MVP. And while that ambition is admirable, the way it's played out on the court has turned toxic. Her game has become isolation-heavy, slow, and ego-driven. And every time she freezes out Caitlin Clark, she chips away at the one thing this franchise has going for it: momentum.
You came to what we were doing already, right? You're supposed to get in where you fit in.
Veterans are supposed to set the tone. But instead of supporting the new face of the league, Howard has made it a battle for control. And she's not alone. There are growing signs that the locker room is fractured, divided between those who still cling to the old guard and those ready to embrace Caitlin's leadership.
The locker room has been corrupt. Natasha Howard out here blatantly ignoring, freezing out, and looking off the best point guard in the league.
Even the coaching staff hasn't stepped in to fix it. The rotations remain confusing. The offensive sets are outdated. There's no clear structure built around the player who should be running the show. And as long as that continues, the Fever will keep underperforming, not because of a lack of talent, but because of a refusal to let the best player lead.
I do want them in some possessions to find a way to get Caitlin Clark the ball back. Sometimes she come off the handoff and gets a wide open shot. Tweak the rotation a little bit. We want Caitlin Clark to bring the ball up.
Caitlin Clark was brought in to transform this franchise. But instead of handing her the keys, she's being made to earn respect from teammates who seem more interested in protecting their own spotlight. And until the organization chooses a direction, build around Caitlin or keep catering to egos, they'll stay stuck in this limbo of drama, missed potential, and locker room tension. And fans, they've had enough. Because freezing out your franchise player isn't just bad basketball, it's sabotage in plain sight.
All of the families showing love to the players for this year's All-Star game on X today, and Caitlin Clark family show love.
Caitlin Clark didn't come to Indiana to play politics. She came to change the game. But what we're seeing now isn't just bad chemistry or missed passes. It's a pattern, a message, a veteran player freezing out the franchise star, and a coaching staff, too, afraid to call it out. And if the Fever don't act fast, they're not just risking losses. They're risking the very future they built their entire season around. Because let's be clear, fans aren't showing up for iso ball from Natasha Howard. They're coming for Caitlin, for the vision, the energy, the movement, and the leadership that's being silenced possession after possession. If you believe this team should be built around Caitlin Clark, not buried by ego, drop 100% in the comments. Because this isn't just about one teammate. It's about choosing the future over the past. And right now, the clock is ticking on Indiana's chance to get it right.
So she dumps it down. Watch Caitlin's shoulders here. She kind of like, Then she goes to tie her shoes as Howard goes to work and misses the layup.
Caitlin Clark had a situation where she tied her shoe in the middle of the game, and fans is definitely freaking out about it. Shagray not knowing what to do when Cece is tying her shoe.